Dear students, welcome to the class of research methodology. I hope you have studied the previous topic, the introduction to the research methodology and the different methods of or different types of research. Let us discuss about research approaches. There are two approaches. First one quantitative, the other one qualitative. So quantitative approach is a particular type of research where the generation of data is in quantitative form, which can be subjected to quantitative analysis and in formal nature. For example, if you are comparing the marks of a student, so we students of different classes, these data are in the nature of quantitative. So these quantitative data can be analyzed in a systematic manner, or for the purpose of research, if you are using quantitative data, such a research is known as quantitative research. There are three types of quantitative research. First one, inferential approach. Inferential approach means it is an approach based on a database to infer relationship of population. Infer relationship of population. For example, in the case of regression analysis, we try to estimate the one value based on other value. For example, in the case of by using time series analysis, we can project the future sales in the year 2025 on the basis of the current data. So inferential approach means we infer the relationship between the variables of a particular population. Inferential approach. Second one, experimental approach. That means it is a detailed study based on scientific research design. It also includes a hypothesis, a variable that can be manipulated by the researcher, and variables that can be measured, calculated, compared for observing their effect on other variables. So it is a common method of research by which we conduct a detailed study with a research design. We are testing the hypothesis, then we are verifying the relationship between one variable to another, and we will compare the relationship, and we are making some observations based on the data. The second one is experimental approach. We are doing a detailed research on a particular aspect with sufficient data. Third one is simulation approach. It involves the construction of an artificial environment within which the relevant information and data can be generated. So we are using, or in this situation, we are using some artificial environment within which the relevant information and data can be generated. So in the case of the particular data is not available, we will create an environment, or we will create a particular situation, and on the basis of that environment we will we will construct the relevant information in the particular situation. So quantitative approach is based on data. There are three types: inferential approach. That means assume relationship of variables in the population. Second one, experimental approach. That means a detailed study based on data. Third one, simulation approach. That means on the basis of an artificial environment, we are collecting, we are assuming the data and we are making some valuable recommendation. The second approach is qualitative approach. As all of you know, if a particular concept cannot be quantified, we have to use the qualitative research. For example, in the case of consumer satisfaction, or in the case of market research, or in the case of human behavior, we can do the research only in qualitative basis. It is a subjective assessment of attitudes, opinion and behavior. So consumer satisfaction varies according to person, so it is a qualitative approach. In this case, researcher have to use his insights and impressions for doing the research. So these are the two approaches of research. Then let us discuss what is the significance of research. How research helps the people, how research helps the nation, how the research helps the different sections of the society. So research promotes scientific and inductive thinking. So it helps for developing scientific thinking and promotes the development of logical habits of thinking and organization. So research is based on scientific thinking and logical basis. So how research is used in different areas? Let us discuss about the use of research in different areas. First point, we can see that research is applied in the fields of economy, business and formulation of various government policies. So the research is conducted by various organizations, various departments in the government in relation to the economy. For example, now we are in a lockdown period. How the lockdown will influence the business organization, how it will influence the automobile industry, how it will influence the tourism industry. So this data is required. Similarly, businessmen also need so many information regarding their activities. On the basis of this study, we will formulate the policies. For example, now there is a coming back of NRIs to our country. How it will affect our foreign reserve, how it will affect the employment status in our country, what are the measures to be taken for rehabilitating them. These are very important issues in relation to the government. So first of all, we can see research is used for decision making in all fields of economy, business, for the purpose of formulation of policies. Second one, government makes policies on the basis of research conducted by the government departments. There are several government departments which are mobilizing data. Most important agency is National Sample Survey Association. They collect different kinds of data for the purpose of government. So government have to prepare budget. Before preparing budget, they need so many information. Similarly, the agricultural production, the data regarding monsoon, the data regarding the fertilization, or some other aspects are very important regarding agriculture. Similarly, industry, what is the growth of GDP, what is the unemployment problem, what is the level of infrastructure. All these data are required to the government. So government needs this data for allocating the resources. Priority should be given to which area is based on the data. So government have to collect the information. So we can see that research is used by the government in three phases. First one, investigation of economic structure. Investigation of economic structure means collecting the actual data in the economy. Second one, diagnosis. What are the reasons for that particular issue? And finally, prediction of the future based on this. So research helps the government in studying in detail about the different economic activities, the reasons, finally prediction of the future. Third significant point is research has special importance in solving various operational and planning problems of business and industry. So business and industry need so many answers. For finding these answers, we will use different research techniques like market research, operation research, motivation research, demand and market research, sales forecasting. So, what will be the demand for a particular product in the next year? What will be the flow or the level of tourist arrival to our country in the next 3 years? We need some data. This data is collected by market research, or the consumer satisfaction is measured by satisfaction survey, or sales forecasting is made by different departments. It is another significance of research. Third point is research is used by social scientists in studying social relationships and problems. For example, there are so many social issues. For example, alcoholism and family issues. So, the researcher, social scientists can conduct a detailed study regarding the influence of alcoholism and family issues and identify whether there is a positive or negative relationship between these concepts, these aspects. They can identify some problem also. So, research helps different sectors of the society in different ways. It helps the economy, it helps the government, it helps the business, it helps the social scientists. So it is a reservoir of knowledge and it provides guidelines for solving different business, government, social and other problems. Then let us study the terminology research methodology. Research methodology can be studied in detail. So first of all, let us discuss what I mean by research method. Research method means all those methods or techniques that are used for the purpose of research. There are three techniques. First one, methods related to collection of data, statistical techniques used, and methods used for evaluating accuracy of the research. So how you collect the data, what are the statistical techniques used by the researcher, and finally how you measure the accuracy of the research. So research method means how you conduct the research. But research methodology is the way to systematically solve a research problem. It is the science of studying how research is done scientifically. So the study should be done in a scientific manner. So the samples should be selected in a systematic manner. The data should be collected in a proper manner. It should be analyzed in a systematic manner. So there are some scientific techniques. So the researcher should know the techniques but also the methodology, that how he can do the research in a scientific manner. The researcher has to frame a methodology for his problem, as the same may differ from problem to problem. From research methodology is a scientific technique regarding the doing of research. That means how you collect the data, how you analyze the data, how you make meaningful conclusion, and how you formulate findings to your study. The scope of research methodology is wider than research method. So let us conclude that research methodology is a scientific method of doing research. That is how you collect data, how you analyze the data, how you formulate the conclusions. Then, research is a scientific method. As all of you know, it should be done in a systematic manner, it should be done in a scientific manner. So, scientific method means if you use some logical base for doing the study, we can say it is a scientific method. The ideal of science is to achieve a systematic interrelation of facts. So the facts should be analyzed in a systematic manner. So we will use experimentation, observation or logical arguments from some basic principles and combination of these three in different proportions. The researcher will use different techniques like experimentation, observation and logical arguments while doing his research. Why research is treated as a scientific method? So there are some points. It is based on empirical evidence. We make some conclusion based on the data. It utilizes relevant concepts. So we are having some hypothesis, we are testing some hypotheses, and on the basis of that we are doing the research. Third one, it is committed to only objective consideration. So we are making a study regarding some objective aspects. It aims to make adequate and correct statement about the population. We are conducting a study on selected sample and we make conclusion regarding the population. So the samples are selected in a scientific manner. It results to probabilistic prediction. We can make some scientific prediction based on a good research. Its methodology can be scrutinized critically and for use in testing the conclusion through replication. So you can replicate the study in different situations if it is scientifically done. It aims at formulating general axioms or general scientific theories. So research is a scientific method where the researcher is guided by rules of logical reasoning and in an orderly manner. Let us conclude that research is a scientific method in which the researcher uses logical reasoning and scientific methods. Thank you.